Hello and welcome to the FI News Review. I'm Susan Choi. Each week, we focus on relevant news in the food and beverage industry. Our focus this week is on the consumer. The Conference Board recently reported that consumer confidence fell in February after 3 months of straight increases. What is behind this sudden drop? To investigate further, I want to bring in my partner for this week, FI Senior Editor Jordan Wickland. Jordan, thanks for joining me.
Good morning, Susan. Great to be here.
And great to have you. Okay, so let's get into it. What is with this suddenly low consumer confidence index? What are the details behind that?
Well, we're still debating, is it a soft landing or not, right? Susan, inflation has abated a little bit. The labor market is strong, yet domestic consumer confidence fell in February for the first time in 3 months as Americans' views deteriorated about the economic outlook, the job market, financial conditions. Even an election year has people a little choosy about where and how they're going to spend their money. Bloomberg reported that the conference board's gauge of sentiment decreased about 4 points to 106.7 from a downwardly revised 110.9 just a month earlier. To illustrate this, the Wall Street Journal published a piece this week that shared increasingly common consumer strategies for coping with food inflation, such as potluck dinners with friends and family, a renewed commitment to, or in my case, new attempt at backyard gardening, bringing to mind the victory gardens planted during World War II, and even an increased focus on urban and rural hunting. Americans haven't had to commit this much of their paycheck to food since 1991, over 30 years ago.
That's some pretty interesting factoids there. But how has the impact been of this lowered consumer confidence on food companies? Can you talk about that?
Sure. Many grocers, retailers, manufacturers, they're offering more family-friendly bundles in their products and services as food inflation remains high. This week, however, many companies reported quarterly earnings, and 2 major players had to clarify or even walk back their comments due to immediate consumer outrage online. First, Kellogg's CEO 𝗟𝗶𝗱𝗁𝗂 told CNBC that cereal is a great option as a money-saving dinner, prompting one writer to say, "Let them eat flakes," as much of the criticism focused on the fact that millionaire CEOs of global food companies are not necessarily in the same predicament as many of their customers, even though they're not really responsible for international inflation. Meanwhile, during its earnings call, Wendy's discussed a plan to implement surge pricing by 2025, prompting similar outrage from cash-stressed consumers who don't want to pay even more for beef, burgers, and fries in the months and years ahead. Due to the immediate backlash within the last 48 hours, Wendy's released another statement saying it wouldn't raise prices during busy times. But Susan, many believe that the proposal of surge pricing at Wendy's is already dead in the water.
And you've definitely been seeing examples of this trend of dynamic pricing. Also, a term we've been seeing lately, drip pricing. We know that there was a recent New York Times article about that. Jordan, can you tell us more about these types of terms and also any insights into the recent news that the federal government is really interested in regulating these types of happenings?
Sure. Many viewers in this space may find these concepts familiar. They're quite similar. They're not necessarily new. Many consumers are familiar with dynamic pricing, right? The idea of changing a product's cost based on immediate demand and inventory. This is, common in grocery and retail. In the produce section, maybe you may not want to pay full price for bananas that have already fully ripened, for example. Drip pricing, on the other hand, will be familiar to concert goers and refers to a technique used by everyone from e-commerce marketplaces to restaurants. And drip pricing involves a price that might look like a deal, but there are multiple hidden costs. I encountered this just buying Alison Krauss and Robert Plant tickets the other day. But the Biden administration has been hammering food manufacturers and Ticketmaster alike for allegedly gouging consumers with hidden fees and further drip pricing. And the administration went so far as to carve out an ad, many may recall, before the Super Bowl, highlighting the same. In other words, it's hard out there for food away from home consumers and enthusiasts.
We'll certainly be watching for what happens in the coming days. Jordan Wickland, FI Senior Editor. Jordan, thank you so much for all the insights. And as always, you can check out all the great content that we've done by clicking on this playlist. Till next time, I'm Susan Choi. Take care and have a great weekend.